You're scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m. and you're seeing another engagement announcement from someone who seemed to have way more relationship drama than you. Or maybe it is a social media influencer who they're plastering these pictures, couple goals. And you're thinking, how did they figure it out when I can't even make it in past month 3 with someone decent? And here's what's eating you. You've got your life together. And maybe you're not conquering every area of your life and you know exactly what and where and how everything is working, but you're stable. You feel secure with where you're at. You pay your bills on time. You show up for your friends. You survived a divorce and come out stronger. You know how to handle crisis and solve problems and make things work. You may even have goals that you are personally working on and achieving for in the long term. But when it comes to dating after divorce, it's like you're living in some alternate reality where nothing you've learned about life actually applies. You keep wondering, is it me? Am I too picky? Did I become so damaged in this whole process and so cold hearted that I became so closed off? Am I too set in my ways? But what if the problem isn't that you're too much of anything? What if what if it's that you're showing up as too little of who you actually are? Hi, I'm Stephanie Flygare, and I work with women who are tired of attracting the same unavailable, commitment phobic, or emotional immature partners over and over again. Today, we're talking about the invisible split that's sabotaging your dating life. You may feel like you have two completely different operating systems, one for your real life, where you're competent and clear about your worth, and then another for your dating life, where you become someone you don't even recognize. Your new beginning in love isn't about becoming someone different. It's about finally showing up as who you already are. And now, let me bring this picture in a little clearer and a little bit more focus for you. And it's going to feel maybe a little uncomfortably specific. It's Tuesday afternoon, and your ex texts about switching weekends with the kids yet again. And without hesitation, you respond, that doesn't work with my schedule. We agreed on this arrangement for a reason. You don't apologize. You don't explain. You state your boundary and move on. Now, fast forward to Tuesday night. You're texting with someone you've been seeing for 3 weeks. They suggest meeting up sometime this week with no specific plan. Instead of saying, I need more notice than that, you find yourself typing, sure, I'm pretty flexible. Same brain, same woman. Completely different responses. Or maybe it's this. At work, when that colleague shows up unprepared to meetings, you address it directly. I need you to come in ready so we can use our time efficiently and effectively. I need you to, I need you to show up prepared. You don't lose sleep over whether they like you after that conversation. But when someone you're dating consistently shows up 20 minutes late, changes plans at the last minute, or puts zero effort into dates, you hear yourself making excuses. Maybe they're just not a planner. I don't want to seem so high maintenance. I don't want to seem like a control freak. And at least they're showing up. I haven't got ghosted by them. And here's what's happening: you've developed two completely different personalities. There's the one who survived a divorce, rebuilt your life, and handles whatever gets thrown at you. And then there's another version of you who shows up in dating, who is accommodating, second guessing herself, afraid to ask for what she needs. The problem isn't that you don't know your worth. The problem is you're not bringing that knowledge with you when you date. You're trying to create a new beginning in love from only half of who you are. It's like auditioning for a role, but only showing a fraction of your actual talent. Now, let me show you exactly how this plays out, because these patterns are so subtle, you might not even realize they're running your dating life. Now, the first pattern I'd like to talk about is the competence-vulnerability switch. And you know that showing up prepared and competent works in every other area of your life. When you are dealing with your divorce lawyer, when you're managing your kids' schedules, and if they're older, even helping them out in their own lives, or handling a crisis at work. You do your research, you prepare, you know what you're talking about. But somewhere along the way, you absorbed this message that in dating, being competent equals being intimidating. So you've learned to hide your strengths and lead with what you think is vulnerability, but it's actually just dimming your light. And here's what this looks like: you're amazing at logistics, you're amazing at data and planning and strategizing. You can coordinate your kids' activities. You can manage your household and still have energy for your own goals. But when you're planning a weekend with someone you're dating, you suddenly become whatever you want to do type of girl, right? And they may suggest leaving for your date at, let's say, 2 p.m., when you know traffic will be terrible and you'll lose half of your Saturday. So instead of saying, if we leave at 11, we'll avoid traffic and have more time together, you smile and say, sounds perfect. You're not being vulnerable. You're hiding your competence. And then you wonder why they never ask for your input on anything important. Now, here's pattern number 2, and it's the worth acceptance flip. In every other relationship, with your kids, with your friends, with your family, you understand that respect comes from consistency and authenticity. You don't earn your kids' love by never saying no. You don't keep friendships by being whoever they want you to be. But in dating, you flip the script. You think you earn love through acceptance, through being low maintenance, through not having inconvenient needs or opinions. So when someone texts sporadically but expects immediate responses, you accept it. When they make plans around their schedule without considering yours, you rearrange everything. When they give you inconsistent effort but expect consistent enthusiasm, you tell yourself, this is just how modern dating works. You would end a friendship that operated this way, but you're trying to build a relationship with someone who operates this way. Now, pattern number 3, the abundance-scarcity split. This is the most devastating one. In your real life, you operate from knowing your worth. You've survived hard things. You've rebuilt your life, and you may not have it all perfect and everything in alignment and all the ducks in the row, but you came pretty damn far. You know what you bring to the table in your friendships, your parenting, and in your work. But the moment romance enters the picture, scarcity thinking takes over. What if they're the best I can do at my age? What if being divorced makes me damaged goods? What if they look at me differently? What if they think that something is wrong? What if wanting a real partnership is asking for too much? So you start negotiating with yourself. You overlook red flags. You'd overlook them when you would spot them immediately in any other context. You invest emotional energy in people who haven't demonstrated they deserve it. You give second, third, fourth chances to people who wouldn't make it past one strike in any other area of your life. These patterns aren't protecting you. They're making they're not making you more lovable. They're ensuring that you attract people who are only equipped to handle a fraction of who you are. And then you begin to wonder, why does every relationship feel like, you know what, I'm slowly disappearing? Why do I feel this way? But here's what I want you to understand: this isn't really your fault. You didn't just randomly develop these patterns, you inherited them. Now, think about your mother, your grandmother, maybe your great grandmother. Now, think about the choices they had to make between being authentic and being loved, between speaking their truth and keeping the peace. between pursuing their own dreams and being considered a good woman. Your grandmother might have had to choose between her intelligence and her marriageability. Your mother might have learned that being too much, too opinionated, too ambitious, too independent made men uncomfortable. Those women learned that love required shrinking. That partnership meant sacrificing parts of themselves. That keeping a man or a partner meant being less than who they really were. And even though you consciously reject these ideas, even though you've built a life that proves women can be whole and worthy of love, excuse me, there's still a part of your DNA that carries these blueprints. A part that whispers, if you show up fully, you'll be alone. This is why that dating personality kicks in automatically. And it's not a weakness, it's generational programming designed to keep you safe in a world where women had to choose between authenticity and love. But you don't live in that world anymore. And your new beginning in love requires breaking these inherited patterns that were never even yours to begin with. So, what does it look like when you start dating as your integrated self? The person who rebuilt her life after divorce, who handles whatever comes her way, who knows her worth. You want someone who's genuinely excited about your real life, not just your weekend self. Now, picture this, it's Wednesday at 8 p.m., and you're at your kitchen table with your laptop, and you're working on a project that matters to you while dinner dishes are waiting in the sink. Your hair's in a messy bun. Right? We've all been there. You're in your comfy clothes and you're completely in your element. You want someone who can walk into that scene and think, look, look at her building something meaningful, not she's always busy. Someone who brings you coffee and asks about your project, not someone who sighs about never having your full attention. You want someone who sees you handling a crisis with your ex or managing a stressful situation and finds your competence attractive and not intimidating. You want partnership, not project management. You're tired of being the relationship manager, tired of people who expect you to carry the emotional load, to plan everything and somehow make their inconsistency work within your structured life. You you want someone who asks, "How can I support you this week?" Not someone who adds to your mental load. Someone who brings solutions, not just problems. Someone who understands that you've already learned how to take care of yourself. You're looking for someone to build with, not someone to manage. You want to be chosen for your strength, not despite it. And here's what you're secretly wondering: am I just too independent? Am I too set in my routines? too used to doing things my way. But here's the truth: you don't want someone who chooses you despite your independence. You want someone who chooses you because of it. Someone who looks at how you've rebuilt your life and thinks, this is exactly the kind of person I want to build something with. And that person exists, but they can't recognize you if you keep hiding behind a version of yourself that doesn't actually exist. So, how do you actually create this new beginning? How do you break free from patterns that have been generations in the making? Start dating like you handle everything else, with clear standards and strategic thinking. In your real life, you don't lower your standards when things get challenging. You get clear about what you need and more strategic about how to get it. Apply the same logic to dating. Instead of making yourself more palatable for everyone, get crystal clear about the specific type of partnership you want, and only invest in people who demonstrate they can contribute to that version. When someone asks you what you're looking for, instead of saying just someone kind and honest, try something that is a little more along these lines. I've built a life I really love, and I'm looking for someone who's doing the same. I want a partner who appreciates independence, can handle real life, and is excited about building something together. Show your integrated self from day one, not day 100, right? Stop hiding your competence, your boundaries, and your actual life during dating. Let people see you in your element, not just your date night version, where you're all cute and done up and in your laid back, easy, happy go lucky self. If they ask about your availability, be honest. I'm usually free on weekends, but weeknights I'm focused on my goals, my kids, my projects, my work. I'm looking for someone who finds that attractive, not inconvenient. If they suggest something that doesn't work for you, speak up. That doesn't work for my schedule. But how about this instead? You don't have to feel like you're cracking the whip or being rigid. You can find that compromise without feeling like you're secluding your needs and your wants and your desires and what you need in a partnership. If they can't handle seeing you set boundaries, to have opinions, or prioritize your existing life, you want to know that immediately, not months and months and years, especially years later, right? We don't have time for that. We don't have the energy for that. Trust that your person is also looking for something real. The right person for you is probably as tired of the surface level dating as you are. They're looking for someone who brings depth, authenticity, and their own full life to the relationship. They're not intimidated by a woman who knows what she wants. They're relieved by it. They're not threatened by your independence. They respect it. They're not looking for someone to complete them. They're looking for someone to grow with. But they can't find you if you're hiding behind a version of yourself that doesn't actually exist. Your new beginning in love starts the moment you decide to show up as who you actually are. The woman who survived divorce, who rebuilt her life, who knows that she wants more from it, that knows her worth and what she brings to the table. The right person isn't looking for perfect, they're looking for real. And real is exactly what you've become. If you're watching this and thinking, I'm ready to stop hiding and start attracting someone who can handle the real me. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're carrying patterns that were never even yours to begin with. And I can help you break free from them. My work goes beyond just understanding why you dim your light in relationships. I work directly with your subconscious mind to shift the deep programs running your dating life behind the scenes. Even more powerfully, I help you identify and release those inherited patterns living in your DNA, those generational blueprints from mothers and grandmothers who learned that love required sacrifice, that partnership meant shrinking, that being too much meant being alone. We can reprocess and release these patterns so you can finally show up as your full integrated self in love. This is about rewiring yourself at the deepest level to attract a partnership that celebrates who you actually are, not who you think you need to be. And if you're ready to explore how this deep transformation can create your new beginning in love, DM me directly or email me at help@stephanieflygare.com, and I'll have all the information down below. And I'm here to help you break cycles that were never yours, and step into the love story you actually deserve. Remember, your new beginning in love isn't about becoming someone different. It's about finally showing up as who you've always been. Thank you for watching and spending your time with me. And until next time, or see you next time.